In this video, we are going to begin our discussion of something called the cross product. Before we get to that, I need to teach you a linear algebra algorithm. It's not going to make a lot of sense of why and where and why. It's not going to make much sense at all, but we do need this algorithm in Calc 3, and you're also going to need it in Calc 4. It's just unfortunate that they teach linear algebra after the calculus sequence. So this is called the determinant. Given an array of numbers like we have here, we're going to write vectors. You can see my A's, B's, and C's. Those are going to be a vector A, vector B, vector C in some cases. This determinant is different if it's a 2 by 2 array or a 3 by 3 array. So the 2 by 2 array, how we determine this, how we can tell it's called a determinant is typically this is written with like bars like this to represent a matrix. The straight bars tell me it's a determinant. How I calculate a determinant, it's this diagonal multiplied, so A1, B2, and then minus this diagonal, A2, B1. So that's it. That's what a determinant is. We multiply those diagonals minus the forward slash diagonals. Now, a 3 by 3 is much more complicated. There's a couple of ways. I'm going to teach you the way that I prefer. I'm also going to give you the second method a little later. How we look at this is we're going to break it 3 ways. The first time what you're going to do is you're going to highlight or just think about blocking out the first column and the first row. The first thing I'm going to write down are those numbers that I did not highlight inside a 2 by 2 determinant. So I write those down, and then I multiply by the intersection of my column and row that I knocked out. All right, so that's the first part. Now what we do is we highlight the first row and the second column. And we are going to put, this is a part that doesn't make any sense. It'll make sense once you guys get to linear. This is the part I need you to not forget. We need a minus right there. I write down the ones I did not highlight. B1, C1, B3, C3, and then I multiply this by the overlap of my 2, A2. Now I do a plus. It's going to be, what it is this is plus, minus, plus, minus, plus, minus. That's what it is. But we're only going to do it 3 times, so you're going to see a positive one, then this minus, and then a positive one. So now the third one, you can probably guess what we're going to do. You mark out the first row and the third column. And I write down what's left. B1, B2, C1, C2. And then I times it by the overlap of the 2. All right? Then, these are all 2 by 2 matrices. So I'm going to take my A1 and put it out front. That's this thing right here. And then I just do my normal B2, C3, minus B3. Oops, I don't know what that was. B3, C2, minus A2 times B1, C3, minus B3, C1. I'm just following this pattern up here. Plus A3 times B1, C2, minus B2, C1. All right, so this is a formula for this determinant. Now, the book, what they like to do is they'll give you just, here's this, and here's this. Here's the formula. And they don't show that middle part of how to get to it. This method in the middle is going to be where it's at. Now, this is going to make sense here in a moment with our vectors and what we're doing and what that A1, A2, and A3 will look like. So let's take a look in our next section.